Welcome back to U.S. Farm Report this weekend. Tommy Grisafi and Brian Splitt joining us. Well, new year, gentlemen, and one thing hasn't changed. That is the volatility in this market. Brian, to start off the new year, volatility continues to be the theme, but what is driving that this week?
Well, so far it's been volatility to the downside in a lot of different commodities, the energy markets, the agricultural markets. Those are two that I think most of us pay attention to very closely. And what we had at the end of the year of 2022 was a fund manager that was long corn, long soybeans, extremely long meal. And they did a very good job of window dressing that length and making those positions look good at the end of the year to pad their profit for the year. And so what we've seen, as soon as we've seen the calendar flip, is the mindset from the fund manager to start taking profits. And I think they're concerned about what some of the bigger picture changes to the balance sheets for ag commodities could look like as we get into the end of the first quarter and start looking ahead to this year's crop.
Well, Tommy, I mean, when you look at the trend overall, we know that there is a lot of time left in 2023 and a lot can happen. 2022 reminded us of that. But Tommy, when you look longer term, when you look at some of these future markets out into 2024, 2025 even, what is the trend telling us?
Year after year, when you look at the futures market, 23, 24, 25, even I noticed December 26 futures were listed. The Board of Trade futures market has corn, cash corn, going back to 450 cash corn over 3-4 years. Every year is lower than the next. A lot of the things we thought would happen in 22 didn't happen, whether it be that Europe's going to be frozen out. They have a warm weather season there. So as a grain trader, you really have to look at the energies and say, most of the energies are half the value they were just 6 months ago. I guess the question I would pose to your listeners and viewers is, what bullish news do you think is going to come out that isn't already out there? Do you think we're going to have continued weather problems across the world? We're not going to have Russia invade Ukraine again. Unless you start throwing around the word nuclear, I don't see what the big bullish fundamental news is, and demand's dropping off in a big way here when it comes to our markets.
Before we get into Russia, Ukraine, and wheat, taking a look at South America, Brian, I mean, we're looking at La Nina, the shift to El Nino, but right now it looks like there are some weather issues in South America, but is it enough to really dampen the large crop outlook that really is the talk of the market right now?
Yeah, Argentina is still going to be a focus here in the short term. We've been getting rain, it seems like every weekend, but the totals really aren't enough to fix the drought per se. But we've also been getting some consistent moisture to at least stabilize the crop. But when you look at the size of Brazil plus Argentina together, even though the USDA may still be 5 to 10 million tons too high on their Argentine their Argentine soybean estimate, we're going to have a record crop combined when you look at Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay. And I think eventually that's going to weigh on the market. So once the excitement of what's happening with soy meal kind of runs its course, we've hit some major objectives there. We've retraced about 62% of the whole break from the August high to the October low in soy meal futures. So eventually at some point with the fund manager holding this extremely long position in meal and length in soybeans, if we start to see them do what they've already started to do in corn, I think you could see the bean market and the meal market come under some pretty tremendous pressure. And maybe they just need to wait and see how this January report's going to come out. But from what I can tell, a lot of the trade believes that they could possibly look at reducing soybeans for export. And also the trend would be that if the USDA raises yields in November, which they did for both corn and beans, that they're going to raise it in the January report.
Well, we do have some big USDA reports coming up. So what are some potential big market movers that we're keeping an eye on heading into that report? We'll cover that later coming up on U.S. Farm Report. Please stay with us.